Greetings. I hope everyone is doing fabulous this Thursday. We are going to do a family tarot read for the week, just looking at the energies that have already been present and looking at how we're going to close out this week. Okay, so before I get into this reading, though, I wanted to talk a little bit about just kind of what's been going on with me this week, because I feel like, other people can probably relate. If you can, let me know. I would love to hear, how these energies are affecting you, and, how you move through them, what kind of things you've done with your children, with your family, that has really been beneficial. Okay. So for me, this week has been in a really kind of upside down feeling week. It hasn't necessarily been really negative, but it's just been odd things happening, things just not going according to plan. Not being completely and utterly a disaster, just not, you know, just just little things just not working the way they were supposed to work out. But nonetheless, just being extraordinarily busy. Like as I speak right now, I am looking at the longest, at least the list feels long, and it feels like it never seems to get any shorter. But this week has really had a lot of that energy. At the same time, though, I've had a lot of there's been a really 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 big requirement with my children to be very focused and very intentional with the time that I spend and what it is that we're doing, and just moving a little bit more disciplined or structured with them this week, just to kind of balance out some of that topsy-turvy kind of kind of energy that's been going on this week. So it's been a little weird. The energies have been really really hectic in some ways. I channel messages through, and the messages have been coming through a lot clearer or just differently. I don't even know if I can say it's a lot clearer. Some of them are a lot clearer, but some of them are just different. And I've been getting just a lot of clarity, right? And that clarity has really allowed me to put into place better supportive structures for my children. For example, this morning, me and my son, I homeschool. And so my son has spelling words that he's doing this week. And I've really been trying to find ways to really engage him in his study, because it's not something that he generally is, when it comes to reading, I should say. It had not been something that was like his favorite subject. And so I've just been really, really working with him. And, he's doing his reading a lot better now. But he has gotten to the point where, sometimes he'll just get into the space where he's just frustrated and he's not really feeling the work anymore. He doesn't want to do it, and pushing him to do it doesn't really work. And so, and then also teaching him how to study, teaching him how, and he's 8, by the way. Right? So we're in the beginning stages of this, but basically just teaching him how to study and how he learns, so that he knows what to do with his time when he has assignments that he has to work on by himself, or he has a test that he has to prepare for. And he can kind of gain some more independence when it comes to some of his study. So I actually took a cue from Aquila and the Bee. And I had my son, because he is, for anybody who gets into human design, my son is a generator. And so he's got a lot of energy. I'm a projector. So I've got to find very creative ways to use up his energy without draining my battery. And so today I had him doing some physical movement while he was reciting the words, so that not only was he getting that active energy output, I guess, but he was also getting the repetitiveness of that same, doing the same movement with the letters and the words, and then closing his eyes and visually being able to see these letters show up. So I'm going to continue to do it. Today he did an amazing job. I saw a huge shift in just how he was able to pick up, the spelling of the words. And so I expect that this may be a really, really wonderful tool for him moving on. So that was just an example. And I don't want to spend too much time talking about it because I know you all came here for a reading, but I just wanted to talk about what that looked like in my life so that you all can kind of look at your week, and see how those things may have shown up for you and, what's going on. So let's go ahead and jump into this reading, and we're going to see, how this week has played out, or the energies that have come up and how how they have played out in our lives personally. Okay, so we have in the beginning of the week, Sunday, Monday, getting into Tuesday, we have ideas and inspiration and self-acceptance. And so it's funny because if you all have not gone to go listen to the general reading that I did for this week, you definitely should go over and listen to that one. But I talked about being in a space of really being able to be present and being in a space of gratitude in the beginning of the week. So then when I look here and I'm seeing, okay, so as a family, children, parents, we are receiving ideas, receiving inspiration, and we're in a space where we're being asked to accept ourselves. And so these ideas and these inspirations are coming from us. They're coming, they are about us. They're about that inner child that may need X, Y, and Z, or maybe it's the adult self, right? That needs X, Y, and Z. Maybe you need to give yourself a little bit more self-love or self-care, or maybe you need to set some firmer boundaries, or maybe you all need to go out and do something really fun and really exciting this week so you all can just kind of shake off all of the extra, right? But these ideas and these inspirations that are coming to you, or that had been coming to you in the beginning of the week, are allowing you to move into a further space of self-love, which is that self-acceptance. It is allowing yourself to look at you, your surroundings, your manifestations, and those co-creators within the reality that you exist within, and being able to say, thank you. I see growth here. I see ways for this to transform. And it doesn't mean that means that, it's going to be that way forever, even if it grows. But it does mean that whatever that growth is, it has the ability to move forward. It has the ability to go to the next level. And if you can't say that about that thing in this time, or if your children are in spaces where, you know, um, school just started up, for instance, and maybe your child is in a space where he's not really, or she is not really being supported, right, in all of their brilliance and all of their expression in school. And maybe you're being asked to do something different this school year. And it doesn't have to mean that it's, just complete take them out there and homeschool. Maybe it's a different kind of program. Maybe it's a different kind of teacher, but something is going to be needed. Something is going to be expressed this week that allows for you to open up the door for greater self acceptance and self-love, and for your children to also be able to receive that as well. I just feel like that's going to be really important. So make sure that if you all have not become aware of this, spend some time talking to your children about how they're feeling about, their teachers, other students, um, you know, other adults that they're around, just their environment in general. Talk to them and see where they're at, right? Because there may be some things, and it could be something simple, right? Like the way that I was teaching my son to memorize his spelling words, right? It could just be something, a simple little tweak, or a simple little something that's done a little bit differently that allows for them to have greater self-expression and feel like they are greater supported in being themselves, right? So, in the middle of the week, we have truth and integrity, and we have nature. Okay, so truth and integrity and nature. Um, it's funny because for me, nature is truthful and always in integrity, right? A lot of times it can be the things that are around that cause there to be falseness, or, an out of integrity vibration that is going on. And so, towards the middle of this week, it really feels like um, for the success to be had, right? Especially because we're opening up this week with inspiration and ideas, and so there's change, there's opportunities that are present. And so the middle of this week has really called for us to have a grounded spirit if we are to have a peaceful what is the word? I heard it and then it disappeared. But I almost want to say journey, but um we are in a space where we are witnessing um the truth and the beauty of what is around us, and we are allowing for ourselves to connect and to be able to really put into place the things that allow us to be in that self acceptance, that allow us to grow those ideas and that inspiration. And if you find that you are experiencing a disconnectedness, if you're feeling maybe a little flighty, maybe a little, just not focused, maybe your children are having a hard time being focused, maybe they're having a hard time kind of connecting. Maybe you find yourself fussing a lot more, or upset a lot more. Take some time to get grounded, right? Take some time to do something that allows you to connect with the earth, most especially. Because it feels like this energy is going to help to kind of recenter and ground all of this new energy and new frequency that's coming in. Because with all these new ideas and this new inspiration, that creation energy, you're always going to have an element of chaos that is present. And if you're not grounded, sometimes you can get swept up in that that thing, but you have to remember what your truth is, right? Um, so I could give an example. Your child could have a test that's coming up, and maybe, they've needed some assistance in preparing for that. Maybe they've had other things going on, but whatever it is, maybe towards the beginning of the week, they had to really dig into whether or not they really believed that they could do this and how they could do this. And can I study? Do I believe that I can ace this test, right? And then they're moved into having to really integrate that belief. What is their truth? Have they properly prepared for the test? Have they done the things necessary for them to ace the test? And if so, okay, wonderful. Then let's move forward. If not, then do what's necessary, but connect with whatever that is, whatever that truth is. Connect with it. Allow yourself to really feel what that is. And then we close out this week with new beginnings and balance. And so when I look at this new beginnings and balance, what I'm really feeling is that when you are in a space where you're willing to accept self, when you're willing to accept the room for growth without without forgetting to ground yourself, right? Because you don't want to just be flying around hoping that you land somewhere nice, right? It doesn't mean that you have to be in a state of like trying to control or tell the universe how it has to happen. But it does mean that you are in a space where you are open to the fact that it could happen in a trillion different ways. And so in that, just making sure that you have done what you've needed to do to be in alignment with what it is that you truly desire, right? And in alignment with what your truth is. And so when that happens, when those things take place, you got all that creation energy, you've got all of this connecting energy and a standing in truth and integrity. So it's in alignment. This is fortified. This is powerful energy moving forward. And new things come from that. And when something new comes, it comes forward balanced as everything it will ever need to be. And so whether we are talking about a new pregnancy, because I do feel like we could be talking about a new baby. We could also be talking about new marriage. So this could be families coming together. Maybe you've had to be a little bit creative in terms of how the families come together and how you all work as a dynamic, making sure that you're honoring what is important to you all, what your values are, and allowing yourselves to really connect and kind of just go with the flow. Nature is not about these fine boxes and lines that are like exact, right? Nature grows, and divinely it grows just as it needs to. and everything has room, everything has what it needs, right? And so being in that space, I feel like these new spaces that you all are moving into, whether we're talking about baby, whether we're talking about marriage, whether we're talking about, a spelling test, or you know, adjusting to being in school, after having been out, and this school year is different than the last 2 school years, and all of the stuff. What's being birthed through this is really, really beautiful, and will allow for a new page, a new chapter to be turned. And it feels like for a great majority of us, we have been needing to be able to turn the page, close the book, and start anew. And so it feels like this is what this is bringing. So make sure that you're having the conversations that you need to have with your children, so that you are aware of what it is that they're needing as a part of their own self-acceptance and their self-love for themselves. And you can give that to them. Which will open them up to being able to further express themselves and do what it is that they're needing to do for themselves later on down the road. But this week looks really beautiful. The energy, I feel very quiet inside because the energy feels very thoughtful, but also there's a calculatedness and a very karmic energy that is present, and that falls in alignment with the general read as well for this week. That karma energy is very high. So that being said, be mindful, not negative or positive, neither one. Just a mental note or note to be made is that you will get out of this period what you put in. Be willing to be present with your children, to have the conversations with them that allow them to express their needs, their wants, their desires, their dreams. Really reinforce their ability to make those things happen, to manifest those things, to make the connections, to meet the people, right? To meet those goals. As well as yourselves. This is healthy for your own inner child, as well as how you connect in the bonding relationship that you have between you and your children. Being in a space where you are willing to put forth that focused intention and that energy will take you very, very far this week. And it will be the thing that allows you to really start off this new chapter, this completely new book for some of you, with a blank canvas. Alrighty, so that is going to conclude this week's family read. I pray that everyone is in a space of love and in a space of gratitude for one another, because there is a lot going on in this world, and if nothing else, we need each other. I love you all. Check out that contact information below if you want to book a reading or if you want to get in contact with me for anything. I am open and excited to hear from you, and we will talk again next week. Bye.